Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's Happening Dracut. Today is Wednesday, June 16th, 2021. We are happy to have you join us tonight for our exciting show for June 16th, and we're looking forward to a lot of exciting news and information that you won't probably get anywhere else. But we are happy to be here live tonight, broadcasting from our beautiful studios here on Mill Street in Dracut at Dracut Access Television, DATV. We hope our show will keep the conversation going really quick, fast-paced, and informative, and we want to keep you home viewers stimulated and enough to watch us. Tonight, our co-hosts, my co-hosts are Gordy Scott. Hi, Gordy. How's it going tonight?
We missed you last week. Hopefully you guys caught, we had a nice reflection with Rebecca Duda, so she gave us some good feedback on what's going on with the schools, and hope to have her back on the show again.
That was awesome. Yeah, we would like to get more of the school committee members on, and maybe grab a couple of the selectmen. We know that there's a couple that won't come on, but we do have a couple that might come on, and we'd like to invite them to come on. And our door's open to them at all, and our door is open to our adversaries as well. And of course, we have our old standby. Phil Thibault is in the house, a man who's on the many committees in town, has run for office numerous times, like we all have. Gordy hasn't yet. We're going to get him in there somehow,
We're trying to get him involved, yeah.
Right? Jen, you don't have to text me. We're not going to really force him. I'm going to try to hog tie him and get him in to run for something sometime down the line.
So I was at a building committee meeting with Dennis Pindak is on the committee with us. And he said to me, you know, in Tingsboro, their election yesterday, selectmen, 2 newcomers are on the board now. They beat the incumbent, and I said, "Wow, go ahead, rub it in."
Wow!
So we all had a good laugh.
Yeah. Well, we do know you have a sense of humor, albeit that sense of humor is kind of compressed. You know, he's a good guy. This is a good guy over here. Anyways, we have a great show. Richard, our Cub reporter, who usually does a segment for us, is away at a camp for high school students down in southeastern Massachusetts at, what's the name of the college down there? Oh, I got it on the tip of my tongue. Stonehill College. He's down at Stonehill College for the American Legion, and he's learning all about government. And I'm happy to report he's been elected to 2 positions down there.
Oh, wonderful.
Believe it or not. 2 positions. This kid's a come on.
He's doing better than me.
There he is. That's Phil, you know.
So good for him. I remember in high school, they had a model UN. I don't know if they still do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting.
And Phil, I don't want to rub it in even more, but he did get elected to selectman at the fictitious town that he is supposed to represent.
I'm going to have to talk to him and see if he can be my campaign manager.
What's the secret, Richard? Yeah, he's doing very well. We wish him all the luck in the world, and if he's listening tonight, if he's got some time off, call in and give us a little bit about your experience when we get later into the show. We do have a great show, folks, and if you want to join us, if you can't get us on Facebook, which many people do get us on Facebook. Gordy, we're up on Facebook? Are we up on Facebook?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And
Jennifer is watching.
Awesome.
Tim Keefe is also watching.
Awesome. Now, if you can join us there, but if you want to get better sound and better quality video, you can go to Dracut Access Television on Facebook. We're also there, I believe, as well as we're on DATV or DracutTelevision.org. Phil is always waiting for me to drop the bill.
Dracut TV.
Did I say TV?
Television. I said television.
Oh, television.
It's the letters.
Too long to type.
DracutTV.org. I get that screwed up all the time. That's my Joe Biden moment tonight. So we're already, I'm sure, not Gordy, I'm sure John, what's his name, John? Who's the guy we talked about earlier?
Curtis.
John Curtis is all over that. Yep. That's another Biden moment. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got, you can get us there, or you can go on Channel 8, which many of you might be on. But we're also on YouTube. Are we live on YouTube tonight?
We're not live, but you can watch us anytime if you miss one of our shows and you want to just go back and take a peek. All our episodes are up on YouTube on our channel and What's Happening. Just search for What's Happening Dracut.
And you can
you'll
also
find-
join us tonight by calling in. Be part of the fun here and call in at 978-957-4243, and we'll get you on the air, and you can ask us any question you want, make any comments you want, and we'll certainly be actively push back if you're one of those people that don't agree with everything we say. We don't want everybody to agree, because that makes the show much more interesting. Well, tonight, unfortunately, we don't have a weather segment because,
too bad.
unfortunately, Sean, again, is under the weather. A little pun there, no pun intended. I hope Sean is watching where he is tonight, and we hope that he's doing better and that we have him back here in 2 weeks. So till next time, Sean Kelly, we wish you the best and hope that you recover quickly. You can get his weather reports on Mill City Weather, and he's got a Facebook page also. He's a great guy. Send him his best. I want to send out a couple of special greetings tonight, something new. Okay? One of the greetings I'm going to send out is to Louise Tremblay, who's today is her
friend.
birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Louise.
birthday.
In honor of her being a woman, a young woman, I'm not going to give the age.
39.
39, always 39, right? And then we want to send our greetings out to Moose Morosky. We hope that Moose Morosky is doing better. I did talk to him around 4, 5 o'clock this evening. He's on a bit of a road to recovery, and we hope him and we wish him well. He's one of our faithful followers. But we do know that Frank McManaman must be watching, and he's eagerly anticipating
Our
the COVID report.
Yes.
And Frank, we do have a COVID report tonight, right?
Yes, we do.
And it's a little abbreviated, but it's going to be a good one, right?
Right.
Good. So we'll have that as we go along. But we have so much to get into tonight. We later this evening we have a young lady that's coming in who unfortunately lost her son in a murder that happened in October of this past year last year in Lowell. And the murder involved another young man from Dracut, and to her horror and to many people in Dracut's horror, she found out that the yearbook for this year's Dracut High School had some comments in it that are very hurtful to her and her family. So we've invited her to come on, and she's graciously said that she will, and we're looking forward to having her on at 7 o'clock. So we have so much to talk about. Let's get right into it, okay? So first of all, we want to talk a little bit about this. I'm flipping it around a little bit. We're going to back off on the Dracut town stuff until after the 7 o'clock hour. But we wanted to talk a little bit about this business that's going on up at Exeter, New Hampshire High School. Did you see that, Phil, where they had a high school prom, and that the administrators and everybody used a certain way of identifying those that were vaccinated and those that were not vaccinated? Gordy, you heard about that, right?
Yes.
And what did you think about it?
I don't know how it's legal, but somehow they got away with it.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine your daughter or son coming home, Phil, and saying to you, Dad, they put a number on me?
Legal or not, it's just plain disturbing. I mean,
Really?
it does harken back to everything that happened over in Germany back in the late 30s and 40s, and it's really just disturbing that you would call out people like that. But if it on the opposite hand, if you're talking about gender or something like that, you couldn't be able to do it because that would be hurtful.
We are certainly not going to compare the kind of hurt that a student must have had having that number written on their hand and equate that to the same kind of hurt that happened in Auschwitz or Birkenau
Absolutely
or in Poland and Germany where they tattooed a number on your wrist.
No, but I suppose it just gets out to, with all the HEPA laws that we have these days, and just to essentially call out people for being vaccinated or unvaccinated, and at the end of every other dance or something like that, it was, okay, let me see your numbers and put up your hand, and It was uncalled for.
I guess we're going to. We got a video, right? We
Right.
got a video to show, and should we show that now, and then we'll
Sure.
have some more talk about
this
that?
This is the broadcast from Channel 4 News, so we're just going to replay this for you if you haven't seen it.
Parents are very upset, worried to speak out, so they're voicing their concerns through a local state representative.
They were horrified, to be perfectly honest with you.
Parents of Exeter High School students are upset with how the school did contact tracing during the senior prom.
They want their voices to be heard, and they're afraid to speak out. You see that.
State Representative Melissa Litchfield says parents started reaching out to her last weekend following the prom, which was held Friday night outside under a tent at the high school. The school district says students who were not fully vaccinated or unable to show a vaccine card had a number written on their hand. Representative Litchfield shared these photos sent to her from parents.
I just think that in this day and age, it probably wasn't the best choice of how to handle things, simply because it's a matter of show your papers, and if you don't produce your papers, we're going to brand you.
Every few songs, the students were asked to raise their hands so it could be determined who they were dancing around. The district says this was all part of its contact tracing system. Exeter High School principal Mike Monahan reports students and parents' feedback has been positive. He says, "We hope the community will understand that while no model is perfect, this model let the students enjoy a close to normal and highly desired experience to cap off their senior year. That's the memory we want to leave them with."
Think again. They could have done better than that. They could have thought of an alternative.
Word of the district's contact tracing system is the talk around the small New Hampshire town.
You should know that you're vaccinated, but maybe they could have found a better way to do it.
And at this point, the district says there have been no reports of any COVID cases from last week's prom. Reporting live in Exeter tonight, I'm Mike LaCrosse, WBZ News.
We want to thank Channel 4, WBZ, for allowing us, obviously, through the wonders of electronics. We pulled it off the website, and we want to give them credit so that we
Right.
don't get in any trouble, right?
Right, correct.
We do that often, so we're happy to have that kind of technology available to us. But let's talk a little bit about that representative. Do you think, was she a Republican or a Democrat? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
We should look her name up to find out whether she's a Republican or a Democrat, because I think she showed some courage to do that. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, to the point of they wanted to have their being able to contact trace, I would say if you bought a ticket, you have their name. There's your contact tracing list, the entire list. And then if you want to say, okay, hey, we know that these kids are vaccinated. We don't have to look through this anymore because they were vaccinated, and then you can trace the rest of them if there's an issue. But I mean, start with the whole pool. Just don't have. What kind of pleasure do you have after 2 dances? Okay, everybody raise your hand. Let me see your numbers.
Yeah, exactly. What about? Could you imagine the horror if you drove up to, let's say, Market Basket, and they said, "Phil, or Gordy, what do you think? Are you vaccinated? Because if you're vaccinated, I need to put a number on your hand. If you're not vaccinated, rather."
And then after every 2 aisles, I want you to raise your hand, and everybody else in those aisles, so we can trace who's
Yeah.
been in contact.
Is
with
this
who.
ridiculousness
It is.
or what?
It is.
I mean,
It
what
is.
are we coming to? I mean,
it almost says to me, we know that the vaccine doesn't work. I mean, other than that, why are you questioning it?
exactly,
All right.
exactly. I mean, we're all.
And the fact that the kids under 18 years old, it was like 0.03% of them
1/10 of a percent
had
that
actually got sick or
Right.
were deathly ill
Right.
from it. So
Right now, I don't know. You coach basketball,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Did you come in contact with kids that were sick during the basketball season?
I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
And that
Did
was
you
fun.
know any that got sick? I
No.
know several hockey players that got sick.
I know none. Actually.
I know several hockey players that got sick, but they had very minimal, symptoms. Very
And
minimal.
I reffed the whole basketball season, and
In fact,
without
one
issue.
kid, one of the kids on the varsity who pretty close to it, I had as a freshman, he kept texting me, Coach, I want to come back and play. I want to come back and play. This is ridiculous. I don't feel anything. All I know, I don't have any taste. That's all I don't have.
Yeah.
He was driving his parents crazy because he wanted to come back to play. But of course, the schools, we have some regulations, and we followed the protocol.
Right.
But just imagine that. So you mentioned the contact tracing, right, Phil? Like you said, this contact tracing now, you go into certain restaurants, they're still asking you for your telephone number. Now, is my telephone number going to end up on a list that restaurant can sell to somebody to allow them to
Who knows? You know.
to hawk their their newest, greatest elixir to get rid of warts on my backside?
I mean, I've been cautious about not scanning the codes to download menus.
Really?
Because that essentially gives them access to your phone.
Oh, that's
And
true.
so I'm sure they're going to get your contact information there.
That's very true.
So
So-
I'll take a menu. I'll take a written menu.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Are we live on Facebook? Because I'm trying to get it on my. I haven't got it on my phone.
Yeah, we got John Curtis watching,
Oh, that's good.
Angel's watching, Anne Marie,
Yeah. Oh,
and a bunch of people.
There we go. I got it now. There we go. But I can't get it on my laptop for some reason. Yeah, Richard Silvio said, great to see you guys all fired up again. And Erica, and there's many, many others out here watching us tonight. John McDonough, one of our favorite guys, one of our
Always a
favorite
gentleman.
guest hosts. And we're going to have John in soon. He's doing very well. He's back on the internet and going strong once again. We wish him well.
Good to see you.
So our next topic that I wanted to talk about was about the DHS teacher that's in a little bit of a hot water over the sex survey. What is going on, Gordy, at Dracut High School? What's going on?
They seem to be in the news a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be talking later on this evening about another incident involving the yearbook, but this Dracut teacher, who, by the way, resigned from the Public Library Board of Trustees, and we're going to get into that in a little bit about how they went about and filled that seat. But he resigned from the Board of Trustees of the library, but I'm wondering where we are on that issue with this teacher. It's kind of died out.
And we talked to Rebecca Duda last show about it, and she said there was, she couldn't really talk about it.
It's a personnel issue.
It's a
She's
personnel
now
until it's right.
she's
so-
segued from candidate, right, to what, Phil? Right? She segued right into the seat.
Yep.
And now she's going to use the standard, which she has to, and I know, I
Absolutely.
understand.
Absolutely.
Can't talk about that because we're in litigation. It's a personnel matter. So,
Yep.
Yeah, but I understand that position of a school committee person or a person in the administration, but I can't imagine that this guy will be back. Do you, Phil?
Who knows? Who knows? These days.
In this day and age, you never really know, right, whether they'll be back or not. But the update on that is that it's quiet, and I think from a couple of reliable sources that we have, Gordy, that that teacher probably will not be back. And I think somewhere along the line you'll see that he resigns or whatever and fades off into the distance,
So he gets
as he
his
should.
retirement package, I'm sure.
As he should. By the way, we had probably the biggest amount of hits ever on our Facebook page for breaking that story. We got, just to clarify it, we got that story from several sources, and we don't put things out there of that nature without knowing the reliability of sources and making sure that it is something
We
that's
actually
going.
showed pictures of the survey too. So
Right. So we had the survey, and we had more than one source tell us about it, and we waited till about 3 o'clock, and we posted it up there around 4 o'clock, and then I'm getting text messages. I'm out to dinner with my family. It was my daughter's birthday, and we went out and we were celebrating her birthday, and I'm getting text messages that the teacher had been relieved of duty with pay, which is another thing that people don't understand. Why do they do that, Phil?
Well, they're certainly allowed due process. So
Innocent until proven guilty.
That's obviously
what
that's
you're
true.
getting into.
That's obviously true. So we got a bunch of people, Phil, on here tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's switch topics real quick, and we're going to go along the lines of what's going on here in Dracut, as well as what's happening. Dracut did you see the story recently or hear about the story? I got another informant give me a call during the weekend and say, hey, there's some racially charged writings on the road in the middle of the intersection on County Road.
And that's a road leading into Tingsboro.
Correct.
I believe, yeah.
So I jump in the car and I scoot out there and get some pictures and a little bit of video, but by the time I got there, it was covered up in white spray paint. So, but I will tell you this, I will hand it to the fast action of an off-duty DPW worker. I'm going to try to get the name of that person, but I believe it was an off-duty DPW worker that saw it and acted quickly to help the town get rid of it before it made any kind of headway in the town. But it's just disheartening, Gordy, to hear this kind of stuff going on in our little town of Dracut, as Doug Willett used to say. Former Selectman Doug Willett. I don't understand, and it was racially motivated information. It was the use of a bad word.
Yeah, they didn't tell anyone what the...
No, but I've got information that it was the use of a very bad word.
And it was on the road, I believe, right?
It was on the road.
Yep.
It was in the middle of the road, in the middle of the intersection. I forget the name of the street that it was at, what intersection it was. So we obviously wanted to make sure that was taken off, totally taken off the street as much as possible. But what the heck is happening here? We want to try to keep people informed, but that is something we just will not tolerate.
That's crazy.
And it's certainly not indicative of the population of Dracut.
No, the population of Dracut is more accepting than you can imagine by that. To do those racially motivated things, it's just, and graffiti is not a good thing at any rate, but that's just a bad situation. So, what do we have here? We have more people online. Contact tracing is fascist, communist behavior. And that's Catherine Andrade. Is that how I pronounce her name? I'm very good at pronouncing names, as you know. My wife took me to task last week about
Angela?
Angel. I was going to say Angel, and then, Angel. And I know she's probably watching tonight. Is she? Of course, because you know what? She's a faithful follower of our program here. And we got Jonathan Marchand, and we got Angel, and we got Richard Murphy watching, and Richard Silvio. Like I said, later on, give us a call. But, we're going to take a break, folks, because our special guest has arrived, and it's going to take a minute or so for us to switch it out.
So I'm going to play the video from the news clip from this breaking news that from Channel 7.
Before you do that,
we're
going to put on Richard Silvio's fundraising effort for the World War I monument, and we'll talk about that later, but we'll put that on now. And so that'll give us an opportunity, folks, to switch out the microphones and welcome Heidi into the set. Thank you, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Silvio. Tonight, I'm not contacting you on behalf of the Big O Silvio Show or What's Happening Dracut. I'm contacting you as a person, specifically as head of the World War I Rededication Committee here in the town of Dracut. Right now, I'm currently located at Hovey Square at the World War I Memorial. Just look at it for a second. Can we zoom in for a minute? Take a look at all the names. Look how rusty those names are. Look at the green patina that covers the plaque. 160 names, ladies and gentlemen, are on this monument. 160 men from Dracut who went off to fight in the Great War, World War I, 1914 to 1918. 8 of them didn't return. Now if we can look at the stone for a moment. Focus on the stains in the upper left-hand corner. Ladies and gentlemen, this monument is in awful, awful condition. Why am I showing you this, though? Well, it has to do with the committee that I mentioned just a few moments ago. The committee, the World War I Rededication Committee, has formed Project World War I Lest We Forget. Now this project is designed to fix up this memorial, clean some of those names, take the stains off the monument, and bring this thing back to its former glory. The memorial itself was put in 1925 during Memorial Day celebrations by President Calvin Coolidge himself. Unfortunately, though, since 1925, things have gone downhill drastically. So please, if you could, donate to our cause. You can do so by either donating to our GoFundMe, which you can find on our Facebook page, Project World War I, Lest We Forget. You could also donate by writing out a check to World War I Rededication Committee and messaging me personally on Facebook. My name is Richard Silvio. That's Silvio. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I hope you consider donating and have a wonderful evening.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have with us this evening Heidi Komborowicz.
Good
Did
job.
I say it right?
Yep.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Is it Polish?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then I'm close anyways. But we have Heidi with us this evening, and Heidi is the mother of Adrian Komborowicz, who was murdered in Lowell in October, as we said earlier in the show. And we send our heartfelt condolences to you and
Thank
your
you.
family, and I can't imagine the kind of pain that you could be feeling of losing a son at such a young age. I understand he was 20 years old.
20 years old, yep, it's not easy.
No. And how are you dealing with it, Mom?
Well, I've been busy the last couple days, but you know, I have my good days and my bad days.
Yeah. And your younger son, you have a younger son?
Yes,
Any other
Alex.
siblings?
Yep, Alex. He just graduated from the Greater Lowell Voc. I love that school.
That has to be making
It's a
you
great
proud,
school.
too.
I
It's a great school.
am very proud. He came out with some scholarships and awards, and he's going on to college in the fall at Worcester State. So I'm very happy
That's
for
great.
him.
That's
Yeah.
great. Any other siblings?
Nope.
No.
No, that's it.
And you know, there's just a couple of questions
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to ask, and we want to really give you the opportunity to say what you feel in your heart about what's going on with this whole issue. Now, I understand that you were out at the high school the other day, and we're going to
Yes.
get to that in a minute. But I'd like you to tell the folks a little bit about Adrian, so that they can get to know who Adrian was, what he was all about, and what you expected from him in the future.
Okay. Oh, Adrian was something. He had quite the personality. His personality was big. Everybody knew him. Everybody liked him. Most people liked him.
Except for his basketball coach.
Except for his basketball. Don't get me started on that. That's a whole nother story.
Full disclosure, Gordy was one of his best.
This was one of the ones he liked.
Okay, yeah.
He fluffing loved Gordy.
I can,
We always said that fluff instead of the F
Yeah.
word. We use fluff instead of
Yeah.
F.
fluffing.
That was
Yeah,
his.
that's a
That
good
was
one.
their thing.
Yeah.
You know, Adrian was, he had a lot going on. Like, you know, he was trying to be really independent in life and trying to figure out what he wanted to do. But my goodness, he was a funny, caring, loyal, loving person. He would have done anything for anybody. He really would have. And a lot of his friends will tell you that. You know, he fought for what he believed in. He had a backbone, and I love that about him. Sometimes,
Well, you're not going to get an argument from anybody on this set.
Yeah.
We all fight for what we
you know,
And he was a handsome boy.
he was.
Well, we can
He
see,
was
we do have a
very
picture
handsome.
of Adrian that's being shown
Yeah.
occasionally here tonight, and he's a very handsome young man.
Yeah.
So,
I always told him, I said, Adrian, you're like that song, I Fight Authority, Authority Always Wins.
yeah.
That was him.
Well, you know, what was his hope for the future?
I mean, I know for a fact he was hoping to take over my husband's business, which is a home exterior business. He loved working for him. And I know he wanted to have kids someday. He loved kids, loved them, and they were drawn to him. So it was, you know, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. That's touchy.
I know.
But
Well, so, you know, can you give us a little bit of enlightenment as to how he met this young man that ended up taking his life?
he's known Christian LeMay for quite some time. They've played basketball together. They've been in the same social circle. He's seen him at school. You know, I know Christian liked him. Adrian didn't mind him, I'll say, because he was never, a huge fan of his, but, he didn't mind him. They both were into music. But I think Adrian knew from the get-go that he wasn't going to get too close to him.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to get into exactly why we asked you to come on here and what you did on before town meeting. So to set that up, Gordy has a video that he's going to show of the protest that you staged with some of your friends and some of Adrian's friends as well. So let's take a minute to show that.
And this is from Channel 7 News. This is from the broadcast on Channel 7 News.
High school yearbook. They want the school to print new copies. It's all over some controversial quotes that some students used. 7 Steve Cooper has the story for us from Dracut.
I felt numb. I felt like the ground came out from under me.
Heidi Kimborowitz is still reeling over the death of her son, 20-year-old Adrian, who was shot in Lowell last year.
It's not fair. It's hurting the family. They wouldn't want their family to hurt like we do.
Kimborowitz's grief has turned to outrage outside Dracut High, where signs of support include justice for Adrian. He was a former student at the high school along with 18-year-old Christian LeMay, known as Mello, who's now facing charges in connection with Adrian's death. But it was these comments saying "Free Mello" in this year's Dracut High yearbook that has left Adrian's mother beside herself.
I got an email that wasn't satisfactory. I think they're just trying to pass the buck. What I'd really like to happen is for all the yearbooks to be reprinted so that the students who aren't happy about this can get new yearbooks.
The signs in tow, Kimborowitz's family and friends stood outside the high school Monday night, hoping administrators hear their message, calling for the printing of new yearbooks, minus any message to free the man who at the moment is charged with armed assault with intent to murder.
You shouldn't have free anything in the yearbook because that insinuates somebody is incarcerated, and that has no place in the yearbook. His life mattered. That shouldn't be something in a yearbook for everyone to see for the rest of their lives.
So we did reach out to the school superintendent for comment on all this, but so far we haven't heard back. In Dracut, Steve Cooper, 7 News.
For the Patriots.
So we're back. Heidi, how did you find out about this?
Through friends of Adrian's who actually graduated this year, and it was in their yearbook, and they weren't happy about it.
Right, and then you proceeded to obviously get very upset about it.
I did.
Rightfully so.
We didn't have a good relationship with Dracut High to begin with. Adrian loved his time here, and he still would talk highly of it this day, which blows my mind. But the fact that I feel like they don't want to try to fix anything, they don't want to remedy anything, and it's just another slap in the face, and I feel like pouring salt in the wound.
Have you, you said you emailed the...
I emailed the superintendent, Mr. Stephen Stone. He just said, I will pass this along to Principal Manley. And Principal Manley's email should have just said, oops, my bad, instead of what it said, because it was...
And I have a picture of that if they want to bring it up.
Want to bring that up?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit over this. So the email itself says what? It just
basically says, we're so sorry, the advisors are sorry, we didn't realize what the reference was, our apologies.
Was there any personal contact to you?
No phone call, nothing.
Oh.
Still nothing. Everybody that's tried to contact them, news outlets, newspapers, nothing.
I know Stephen Stone, and I know him to be a good person, and I'm sure that in my heart he's horrified by this.
I would hope so.
And I would hope that Stephen would reach out to you to have a personal conversation. This is something that's absolutely horrifying, and the advisors that we talked a little bit earlier tonight before you come on the set about what's happening up there. There's been a recent teacher that's been suspended or given a leave of absence with pay for giving out a sex survey. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's just one too many incidences for this to go on. I don't know Manley, but there's something going on up there.
Yeah.
You know, Gordy, can you read that to the
Oh,
folks?
sure.
Maybe read it to the read it out loud so we get a good flavor.
Ask her the next question, then I'll bring
Sure.
Give me a second.
So your reaction had to be horrific when you heard this.
When I responded, it wasn't so nice.
And you responded to Manly, and then you still have not had any kind
Still
of
nothing.
contact with them.
Yep.
It's just unbelievable.
unbelievable,
that,
yes.
Unbelievable that would happen. Now, how is all this affecting your younger son?
You know, luckily he has a really good head on his shoulders. He's keeping busy with working, but it's bothersome because these are people he was supposed to graduate with if he had stayed at Dracut High. So a lot of these people were his friends at one point, and I think it cuts him deep.
Right.
You know, and unfortunately, any of the friends who are, you know, helping me get the word out or posting things are getting threatened by I shouldn't say both of them. Well, they're getting threatened by friends and family of the two students.
Oh, they're getting threatened by friends
Oh, yeah,
and family?
yeah.
Really?
Yep, on social media.
Wow.
Yep.
That's hard to. Have you tried to report, or have they tried to report to whatever site they're on that this is happening?
No,
to the
because most of
police?
it is Snapchat, so it goes away. I don't think the police are going to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I was even told to shut the F up. You know.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
full of class.
It was what?
They're full of class. These kids.
So, so these were kids that were harassing you or your son on Facebook or on
Snapchat.
Snapchat. Mm-hmm. Really?
Yep. Not directly to me. Nobody has sent me a direct message,
Right.
but using my name out there.
Yeah. You know, we take some good stands here and some not so good stands here, but you know, I just can't believe that Stephen Stone wouldn't have a different reaction. And I mean, I believe you,
Yep.
but I mean, I still want to give him an opportunity to reach out to you. I do not know Manly, but like I said, I'm not hearing a lot of great things
Right.
about Manly and the high school, and that has to change. Gordy, you have anything?
Yeah,
that you
so
want
this
to
was a Principal Manley's response to Heidi's inquiry about the school book, the yearbook. He said, "Dear Mrs. Komborowicz, I have been made aware of a quote submitted by a senior student and published in the 2021 yearbook. I want to express my regret and apology that any such reference appeared in that yearbook. I have spoken to the advisor, who also deeply regrets the quote and was unaware of any reference to which the post referred. The quotes submitted by students are reviewed carefully," obviously not,
No.
"by students, by editors and advisors, but this reference was not known at the time of the review and unfortunately not edited out of the book. Respectfully and regretfully, Richard Manley."
Which I don't believe. Christian was a student at Dracut High. Adrian was a student at Dracut High. This was in the news about the shooting. They referenced Christian's nickname in the news, and you're going to tell me nobody understood what Free Mellow was? I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Right. I totally agree with you. You have both students in there, and you're not going to tell me you don't know what the nickname of a student
Exactly.
is. You're just not going to. And I want to add, just for the record, that Christian Mello is the alleged
Yeah.
perpetrator
Yeah.
of this crime, and you know, he has to get due process. But Adrian didn't have any due process.
No, he did not.
He's had no due process, and we want to see some kind of due process for Adrian. And more importantly, I want to try to get you to have some kind of comfort that Dracut isn't going to just turn their back on you. And
thinking.
I'm really one of those people that will not turn their back, and I'm sure the
I
rest of
appreciate
our
that.
crew.
No, and if I can add, you know, sometimes in these situations, you come up across something that you've done wrong. And unfortunately, we live in an age that you start thinking about, okay, what's the logistics and the economics of me admitting that I've done wrong? And that should never come into play. If it's the right thing, do the right thing, no matter what the cost, no matter what the outcome comes. It needs to be done. The right thing needs to be done.
Unfortunately, that doesn't usually happen in the school system. And even when we were in the school system, whenever we would ask for help for something, their famous quote is, "We don't have the resources."
Angel asks, why is the advisor not on the lookout for, as the mom said, any kind of red flags? I mean, the word free should be a red flag somewhere along the line.
And obviously they knew Christian was, I'm assuming he didn't go to school because he's at home under arrest, I think, but they should know that. He hasn't been coming to school, so they had to be aware of that.
Yeah. I just think it's totally unacceptable. And
I just think they got lazy. They weren't checking it, and it got by them, and now they're just trying to make excuses.
I have no clue who the advisors are.
I saw the names on the Dracut Public's, the high school website that listed the teachers. And they were listed as Andrew Bolduck and Catherine O'Neill. But I don't know for sure if they were still the yearbook advisors.
Phil, you have something?
Well, certainly it's nothing that you're going through, but when I was in high school at Central Catholic, I was in Theater Guild, and you know how they usually take a cast picture, put it on the playbill.
Yeah.
Well, one of the students decided to essentially flip the bird low, so it was hard to detect until the day before the play was going to hit, and one of the teachers saw it, and they pulled the program.
Right.
You can't have that. You got to do the right thing.
Yeah. So they didn't, in fairness, I don't know if did they know about it before the book was distributed? If that
Good question.
If that's true, then this is even more abhorrent than I could even imagine. If somebody in school knew, and somebody of authority knew that. And I'm not saying that they did, but if they did, and I think that's a question that needs to be asked somewhere along the line.
But even if it wasn't, they should request that they all be returned.
Be returned.
And then just republish them and gray them out or white them out.
And I know this is hearsay, and I won't say which teacher or what student, but one of the advisors had said to a student, I thought they were referencing Carmelo Anthony.
Huh?
He's not locked up.
Yeah.
So that tells me they saw it.
Yes.
And let it go.
Oh my God. That even makes it worse.
Yep.
It makes it even worse.
And from what I hear, Adrian liked these two teachers, and they liked him. So they had to have known this was a connection. They had to have.
Yeah.
You know, it's and Adrian's not here to, fight for it, so I have to fight to make it right.
Exactly. And Phil, I think you're absolutely right. Call them all back. And
again, you just have to do the right thing. What kind of lesson are we trying to teach our kids here? We got by, and it's going to cost us money, so let it go. You just do the right thing.
Right.
And I don't think I'm asking a lot for a public apology and to reprint the yearbooks.
You were more gracious than Phil, because Phil's saying bring them back. And you were more gracious. You said at least reprint them so that those that don't want that in their yearbook can come and get a new
And
book.
I'm happy to go around and collect all the ones for the people who don't want them and bring them to the school personally.
Right.
I would love that.
Oh, yeah. We could have an old-fashioned book burning.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Or one that would be deemed legitimate as far as I'm concerned. Right? There are other comments out here on Facebook tonight, and Eric Rousseau says, I think I'm pronouncing that right, he says that I wouldn't expect anything more from Stephen Stone, or from Stone. I don't know, I've had plenty of interaction when I was on the Board of Selectmen with Stephen and through the years, but I never found him to be that cold that he wouldn't reach out, and that's a little disturbing to me. And I'm hoping that there's a member of the school committee watching us tonight, because I know there are several that do, and I'm hoping that they will reach out to Stephen, and at the very minimum, it does not have to be a public thing. That's up to you to make it public or not if you want, but Stephen Stone should have reached out to you and to send his personal apologies in person. I wouldn't think of anything else. I mean,
no, just an email saying I'll pass it along to the principal.
Yeah, that's just too cold for me. Let's see, anything else on here? Gordy, you had Adrian as a basketball player,
Yep.
right? So tell us what you thought of him as a kid.
There wasn't a better example of living life to the fullest. He was just full of life. He loved playing basketball. I roughed him 100 times. He was just funny. I used to do the videos. I'm tearing up.
I know you are.
It's hard.
Yeah. And folks, for the record, Gordy is a friend of Heidi's and the family, so he knows them. And Gordy did reach out to Heidi when I asked, and we definitely wanted to get you on here to give you the opportunity to say your story. And I want to give you a final. I want to give. There we go. I want to give you a final opportunity to. Here you go.
Thank you.
To
do too much of this.
I know. It's not easy at all, and I mean I can't even imagine what it would be like to have to do what you're doing. But I'm sure he's smiling down, proud of his mom, who is fighting for every ounce of justice for him that you.
I think he is. He used to be really happy when I fight for what was right for him, because he didn't have an easy time in school. But
So Heidi, before we close this out, because I know we want to, we really appreciate you coming on, and we want you to know this set is open to you anytime you want to come in and talk. Just that camera right there will go on in a minute. Will be on you. Just pour out your heart to the officials, and let the officials know what you would like to see happen here. And I think the very least, a personal visit is one thing that could go a long way to healing your feelings.
Unfortunately, there were many times while we were at Dracut High that Mr. Manley could have stepped up and helped in a lot of situations, and he did not. Stephen Stone, I don't know how involved you are at Dracut High, but shame on you for not knowing what's going on at all times, and shame on you for not apologizing to me. Mr. Manley, we know each other. You know Adrian. Shame on you for not doing what's right.
Well, folks, I mean, we understand your emotions, and we really hope that somebody in the school department will step up to the plate and ask the superintendent to come forward and have a few words with you, and at least let you have your say to them face to face and not in an email, and hopefully it comes back with an apology. And there are people out there right now that are sympathizing with you and feeling for you, and there's one big hug coming from all of Dracut that's out there watching, and from
the fluffer.
And if you can replay that World War I fundraising piece, that would be appreciated, Nate, while we change out the set and allow Heidi to go about what she needs to do the rest of it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Silvio. Tonight, I'm not contacting you on behalf of the Big O Silvio Show or What's Happening Dracut. I'm contacting you as a person, specifically as head of the World War I Rededication Committee here in the town of Dracut. Right now, I'm currently located at Hovey Square at the World War I Memorial. Just look at it for a second. Can we zoom in for a minute? Take a look at all the names. Look how rusty those names are. Look at the green patina that covers the plaque. 160 names, ladies and gentlemen, are on this monument. 160 men from Dracut who went off to fight in the Great War, World War I, 1914 to 1918. 8 of them didn't return. Now if we can look at the stone for a moment. Focus on the stones in the upper left-hand corner. Ladies and gentlemen, this monument is in awful, awful condition. Why am I showing you this, though? Well, it has to do with the committee that I mentioned just a few moments ago. The committee, the World War I Rededication Committee, has formed Project World War I, Lest We Forget. Now this project is designed to fix up this memorial, clean some of those names, take the stains off the monument, and bring this thing back to its former glory. The memorial itself was put in 1925 during Memorial Day celebrations by President Calvin Coolidge himself. Unfortunately, though, since 1925, things have gone downhill drastically. So please, if you could, donate to our cause. You can do so by either donating to our GoFundMe, which you can find on our Facebook page, Project World War I, Lest We Forget. You could also donate by writing out a check to World War I Rededication Committee and messaging me personally on Facebook. My name is Richard Silvio. That's Silvio. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I hope you consider donating and have a wonderful evening.
Yeah. Very powerful.
Well, folks, that was obviously very powerful, coming from a very grief-stricken mom who obviously is feeling a lot of hurt right now. And I just hope that we could help hold her hand and give her a little bit of an uplift to have the Dracut administration do what's right here. I mean, you can't unring that bell in a lot of ways, and I'm sure on a higher level they're thinking that, we can't really undo it, but you could have, and certainly a little more investigation might reveal that it might have been able to been stopped before it was out. Right, Phil?
Absolutely. And even if it does slip by, there's still always an opportunity to do the right thing.
Do the best you can. And
that's right.
Heidi just asked, just reach out to her.
Yeah.
And say, we screwed up. It happens,
Yeah.
We screwed up. We want to make it right. Here's what we're going to do.
That's
all you got to do.
You said it in an email. I mean,
right.
There's one thing, what's that old saying? Don't write what you can say and
No.
don't say what you can, whatever it is.
Right.
But the bottom line is, it would be a lot more meaningful to her if they just came out and said, we screwed up. And
that's all.
And we're going to fix it so it never happens again.
Right.
And, kids are mean. Some kids can be very mean. And, the mellow kid has friends that don't know any better. I want to know where their parents are. Where are these kids' parents, Gordy?
That's the world we live in. We got parents that are nourishing and do the right thing for the kids, and then we have parents that go out drinking and go partying and leave their kids at home and
don't care about what their kids are
they're
doing
in school and leave it up to the school to teach their kids. It's
Now, I don't know about you, but I expect some backlash on social media about this. Because
Probably.
when I posted it, I said this could create some issues for us in the sphere of that influence that mellow kid is in. Right?
Right.
And unfortunately, I'm not afraid to do that. Are you? We're not afraid to bring these kinds of things forward for the good of our community and to tell people this is not acceptable in Dracut.
Right.
This kind of behavior is not acceptable in Dracut. And we need to be better. As someone wrote, Dracut needs to be better. Okay. Next.
After that somber story.
I know. Let's move on. Let's move on to a hit and run. Because and you might think that's funny, but it's really not funny because we had a hit and run on Catherine Street. You know where Myron Street leads into Catherine?
Yes.
And we had a...
That's over in the Collinsville section.
Yeah, in the Collinsville section. So I got another one of my little birdies whispered in my ear that did you know about this? So I went on to the website Neighbors, Dracut Neighbors Helping Neighbors, which is a great website, by the way. And I saw that there was a lot of posts about this alleged drunk driving incident. Now, the police went out. There was a lot of bashing of the police, which really got my attention. And I said, I really can't believe that they're just totally ignoring this. But I also understand that there are laws that they have to abide by, and they can't go by one person saying something, but there were two witnesses that saw this happen, that a local guy in the neighborhood who has been known to be drinking on a lot of occasions and driving, and he just swerved across the street and hit this guy, I forget his name right now off the top of my head. I had it. If you could look it up on the neighbors.
I was looking just,
Yeah, it's going to be down a little bit because there's been a lot of posts. It was last week when I looked at it over the weekend. So, but at any rate, we're looking into it. We're trying to find out more information. I did reach out to the person who was hit, and that person was on Facebook, so I don't think that person was hiding himself from the public on it. And I did reach out and say, hey, you want to come on our show and talk about it? We'd be willing to talk about it and try to see if we can get some more action on it, you know? Is there any more reaction on Facebook, Phil? From
a lot of heartfelt sorrow for Heidi and what she's going through. And,
yeah. So we're going to do a little bit more on that Catherine Street issue, and if Gordy can find it.
There's a lot of posts
There's
on
a lot of posts on there, yeah. I probably should have warned you about that before we got on. But I wanted to also talk about rumors, because there are some rumors in town, and we don't normally talk about rumors until we confirm them a couple times, right? And on this particular instance, I have a rumor that's no longer a rumor that I haven't confirmed. But there was a rumor over the weekend that the newly hired financial officer, Dracut's financial officer, who, by the way, I think is a nice guy so far. I've had some interaction with him through DATV and our association, which we're not going to get into that, but Phil and I have had some interaction with him, and I find him very engaging and very honest, and he seems to be above the political fray that's going on between DATV and the town. But that aside, I heard over the weekend that there was a rumor, a strong rumor, that he was going to be appointed assistant town manager. Now, sometimes people, management brings in people at a lower level, and they think you're a superstar coming in. They look at the resume, and you're a superstar, and management will say, "Hey, we'll bring you in at this level and at this position, and in 3-4 months, if everything works out well, we'll bump you up some. We'll find a way to get you to where you need to be." Now, Mr. Garofalo was a financial officer for the town of Bedford, I believe.
Bedford,
right?
Yes.
And so I got it confirmed out of the horse's mouth today that he is officially the assistant town manager.
Well, I could also confirm that when I saw an email from him, and it had also the title of assistant town manager on it.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah. Well, that email I didn't get because he had my wrong email, by the way. But I asked him. Yeah. I asked him right out. I said, aside from this, I just asked him right out, and he honestly answered me right away, no hesitation. Yeah. It's not a rumor anymore, and So, anyways, we congratulate him and we wish him well, obviously, and just be above board and do what the town, what you're supposed to do, and we're not asking you to do any favors for anybody. And
so I'll give you an interesting little tidbit that the position of assistant town manager is not mentioned anywhere in the town charter.
It isn't?
No, it's not. It's not a position.
Really?
So it
used to be.
No. It's actually a position that is named by the town manager whenever they need to leave somewhere, go out of town. So
very interesting.
I would honestly like to see that sort of position at least ratified by the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
At this point, they don't.
I'll give you an example why they don't. I'll tell you why they don't. And most positions are ratified by the top positions.
Certainly, yeah. The police and fire chief are.
The manager, the auditor is appointed by the town, the Board of Selectmen. And I believe there's others too, and I'm not going to go off and quote on them, but there are others. But about a little while back, and I'm not sure when, there was a bylaw change that gave the town manager, the Board of Selectmen voted for it and moved to, actually sponsored it, I think. And you can research this, I was told. And I don't know all the specifics of it, so I'm really giving you a high-level thing to look into, because I know you can do this, Phil. But they gave away their right and allowed the manager to reorganize the finance office as well as some other positions. And we already have a strong manager form of government in town as it is. And that meant that the manager can really do the operation of the day-to-day day-to-day things that she needs to do or he needs to do. And it's important to get things done, right? And when I sat on the Board of Selectmen, I never wanted to delve into the day-to-day operation. Now, as far as constituent services are concerned, that's not delving into the day-to-day. If I had a constituent that called me and said, there's a pothole on my street and I've called town hall several times to get it fixed and they haven't done it, can you help me? Then I would make a phone call, or I would put a message, or during the manager's message, during the Board of Selectmen, I'd bring it up. I got a call from so-and-so. You hear Joe DeRocco say this all the time. Oh, I got a call from so-and-so, my friend.
No, he never mentions who
Never
he gets a
mentions
phone.
the name. That's right. All right.
Well, I just got a phone call the other day.
Yeah, right. He used that the other night on something too, which I just shake my head about that guy. So, and I don't want to make this a Bash DeRocco show because it can be fast into that. We can fast get into that.
Well, I've always found it interesting that the selectmen essentially appoint the town manager, but they have absolutely no say over the assistant town manager.
Yeah.
It just seems to me that they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least
Well,
as
it doesn't exist.
at least as
If
a
it doesn't
ratification.
exist-
Right.
If it doesn't exist, I guess they can't.
So that's where that stands as far as that rumor is concerned. There are other rumors still floating around out there and bubbling up. There's a couple of other issues that are out there that I can't talk about yet because the sources that have told me have asked me to stay quiet until a couple more shoes drop on them. So we'll get those out as soon as we can. And folks, I mean, this stuff doesn't, I don't make this stuff up. Gordy, this comes to me, right? You know. I mean,
unfortunately, in Dracut, it seems to write itself, though.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to talk a little bit about the joint meeting that was held last night prior to the Board of Selectmen meeting, before the Board of Selectmen, or with the Board of Selectmen and the Library Board of Trustees. Did anybody happen to see it? Did you watch it?
I did not catch
did
the
not, no.
pre-meeting, no.
Well, I'm going to have to give you guys a couple of backhands because that's the one thing you got to start watching so you can see what's going on here, so we can have a conversation about it. But I'll give you a little bit of insight into what happened. I guess that they had a meeting. I did see the meeting. It didn't last more than a few minutes. But it was to replace the resignation, to replace the person who resigned, which was Eric Jackson, the gentleman who is the teacher involved in the sex survey. And they appointed a new appointee. And it was the gentleman who didn't win.
No, he.
What's his name? He didn't run.
He didn't run. Nolan, I think. Nolan is his last name.
Yeah, I believe it was. So he has experience. But the interesting thing about this is that they said there were several applicants for the position. But, you know, I've been on the town website last week maybe half a dozen to a dozen times looking for certain things. And I had heard that Jackson might have resigned. And I went on the website specifically to find a resignation notice and a notice of when they're going to appoint the new person, because under, you know, Article 7 of our charter, Section 12, they have to advertise it. So I went on there several times and I couldn't find it. So last night during that meeting and just before that meeting, I go on the website again and I pop onto the homepage, and up pops, the first thing that pops up is this notice. Now, I mean, I'm having Biden moments, but I'm not having Biden moments to that extent that I didn't see this. You know, I'd like to know the timestamp on this, when this was posted, because I smell a skunk in the woodshed. I just do, and I'm not accusing anybody of it, but it's just pretty strange that this popped up on an agenda item on Friday, that this was going to happen. And there'll be people out there that say, oh, he's always doing negative. No, I'm not doing negative. I'm trying to hold feet to the fire so people in the town do what's right. That's all. Just do what's right. Don't try to go around the process. And there's several officials in town that are saying, this is really getting bad in town where things are not getting.
Could I ask you a question? Was this on social media 10 days ago? Maybe that qualifies.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that little thing. Yeah, that too. No, I don't believe it was on social media. And if somebody says it was, well, that's just not qualification to cover the Article 7, Section 12. I'm sorry. But they supposedly got the resignation of Mr. Jackson on
May 25th, I believe it said.
Yep. He said his resignation was May 25th. And then they posted the notice on Wednesday, June 2nd, right?
So that's 7 days.
And then they posted the deadline posting for anybody supposedly wanting to be part of the, be considered for the position was for Friday the 11th, which was last Friday. And then the vacancy would have to be filled no less than the 15th. Little convenient. Doesn't it seem a little convenient that it falls right on the day that they're going to make the appointment?
You work the dates backward.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, do we get a little bit suspicious about things here, Phil? Gordy?
Maybe rightfully so.
A little bit.
Do we get a little bit suspicious about stuff like this?
Yep.
Which will bring us to the next subject, and that was the appointment or the reappointment of a member of a board of directors at DATV. Now, we're not talking about anything that isn't already public. So, Brian Genest was appointed back in May, I believe. No, when was it? Back
that would have been in
I can't remember
December of last year.
Okay, December, right. And lo and behold, there was a date put on it for the expiration of his appointment, correct?
Right.
And apparently, someone at Town Hall noticed it, brought it up, and had to bring it up for reappointment. But it was supposedly a temporary, and Tony Archinsky made a great point about it, and so did Heather. And I wish we had the time to pull up the cut from last night's Board of Selectmen meeting. I actually have the cut, but I didn't have time to download it and get it on and get it in here. But I think that people were just kind of taken aback that it was even before the board again at this point. But again, there was no evidence that there was any outreach other than to Brian Genest. And the biggest issue on it was what kind of conflict of interest does the chairman have? Right? The chairman's the wife of Brian Genest.
Right.
So, Phil, you alluded to posting on the internet.
Social media,
because that was what they said.
Yeah, so when he was first appointed, I believe Tony Archinsky raised the question about was this posted properly, and Mr. Dracut had said, well, it had been on social media for the past couple days, so that seemed to be sufficient for him.
Yeah, well, it didn't fulfill the requirement.
No, it certainly doesn't. And so at this time, Tony had pointed out that the appointment was to fill the remainder of the term, and perhaps at this point he knew that we had other people interested. Maybe we should open it up and then essentially do interviews and fulfill the process as it's supposed to happen.
Correct the mistake you made before. And so that went back and forth, and Mr. Forcia said that no, he's ready to make the appointment now, as did Joe Dracut. And of course, Heather Santiago Hutchings brought up that what was some of the stuff that she said? We were both watching it.
Yeah, so
separate.
I think in particular when she was talking about conflicts of interest and ethics, she was always instructed, as I'm sure you were and I were, that if it has even the appearance of a conflict, it is a conflict.
Correct. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on that, and I mean, you can go and read it, and I know that, Heather absolutely would, she was right on the money on that. If the law says it, that if there's an appearance of it, you can assume that it's a conflict.
We have a caller?
Do we have a call? We're hearing some gremlins here. No?
Hey.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Did somebody butt dial
Nate,
us?
are we, Nate, do we have a call going on? Do we have a caller?
Hello?
Nate,
No, I don't think so. I think they're.
No.
there's something out there. Nate. Oh, we have a Zoom call?
A Zoom call.
We have a phone call.
Okay.
Oh, hello, who is it? We can't hear them. We can't hear them. Try again. Oh, the age of technology. All right, we're going to let the staff try to figure that out, and we'll get it on. We'll get that caller in. We welcome phone callers. But anyways, Allison Janest, after hearing Heather make her comments about the conflict of interest, reiterated that she went ahead and she had previously gotten clearance from ethics that it was okay for her to participate and to vote. And I mean, I just can't believe that there's not. I mean, this isn't a distant relative. This isn't a cousin. This isn't an aunt or an uncle. This is your husband. You're appointing your husband to a board, and you're making the vote. You're making the deciding vote because it was 2-2, and then she breaks the tie, and she makes.
And so certainly the appearance of everybody's been talking about let's get more people involved, and then you appoint family members.
Right.
So I mean, what are you supposed to think about that too?
And interestingly enough,
And we've had, just to bring this up, we've had procurement issues right in the town
Right.
where the same kind of stuff happened, and then all of a sudden Joe DeRocco brings it up that, hey, we've got, you're not giving people, my friends, access to get a fencing job, and you're not getting, and now all of a sudden you're giving all the people that these positions, and they're not posted correctly.
And we do know who's on the call now. We have Linda on the call. Hello? Can't hear her.
Hello?
There you go. Hello.
Can you hear us, Linda?
Can you hear us, Linda?
I'm here, Linda.
Hi.
I'm here.
You're on the air, Linda. If you guys can take that call back,
Yes.
and can you hear us?
Yeah, I think.
We're having some technical difficulty here, so if you guys in the control room can take the call back and try to repatch it through, we'll take her in. But apparently she's not. She can't hear us or whatever. So, yeah. So you're right, Gordy. It's okay to do whatever they want to do, and that's a serious issue. I think that we should, something that has to be looked into that, and it has nothing to do with whether the appointment is to one particular board or another. The conflict is the conflict, and that's a public. Look at public trust is the most important thing, tantamount to everything within the town. And if people were going to say, "Hey, she appoints her, her husband to positions," that's just not right. And I'm sure we're going to, Phil and I are going to get some grief on this somewhere along the line. But you know what? We're big boys. We can take it. That we took care of. We talked about that one. Oh, okay. So now, Gordy, we have it's going to be Nate. Nate has a video of the FinCom dispute and the response from, you played it in the last show, but I put it all into context and I put it in a little package before then, and I think the wrong piece got played that night. So, Nate, if you can bring that piece up now, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
Article 5 is the budget article. As usual, the Finance Committee has not voted on it. They have made no recommendation at this point. I don't quite understand why, but they haven't. They wanted to see what the Board of Selectmen were going to do. So here we are. The budget, the total budget is $84.6 million. Of that, 84.2 is through taxes and other revenues, 195,000 from the sewer, 100,000 from water, so on and so forth to make up the revenues. So it's a balanced budget for fiscal year '22.
Okay. Madam Chair?
Yes.
In the history of you doing the budget, Ann, has the Finance Committee not made a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen and waited for the Board of Selectmen to make a recommendation to them? Because the very fact that the Finance Committee is an independent committee with no charge from us, no charge from you, or anyone else, they're supposed to make an independent recommendation and recommend to us.
Right.
Okay.
I explained that to them, but
I just wanted to reiterate that because I'm a little confused that they're not going to make a recommendation. Waited for us to make a recommendation.
Doesn't make any sense.
I'll motion to approve. Or recommend, I should say.
I just haven't, I mean, I don't know why the Finance Committee is not doing their job. I'm not quite sure of where we are here.
the Finance Committee is more interested at this point this year in the procedures and bylaws in the charter.
What's that got to do with this?
It has nothing to do with this. I have not been able to get them to focus on the budget itself.
So they might be able to take the other 10 months a year and work on the charter change of the Finance Committee, but then maybe 1 month a year they would work on the budget
Right.
leading up to town meeting.
I don't understand it, to be honest with you, but we did everything we could. We presented the budget to them. We gave them anything they asked for, we gave them. They were just, the chairman is just running the meeting differently, and we're cooperating with the way he's running it.
Okay, well, for the time being, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, the town meeting doesn't need the recommendation of the Finance
No.
Committee, and neither does this board. It would certainly be appreciated, but we can certainly move forward without it.
So Karen Merrill, I am 7 Clyde Avenue, Vice Chair of the Finance Committee. I speak for myself tonight, but want to thank the rest of the committee for supporting me. I'm here because of comments made at the last Selectmen's meeting. Mr. Dracut started the meeting talking about negativity, false accusations, and weaponizing a platform. 1 hour into the meeting, Mr. Dracut then used his platform as a selectman as a weapon to attack the Finance Committee, questioning, why do we need them? During the discussion about the town meeting warrant articles, there were comments that were uncalled for, unprofessional, and untrue. The town manager said, and I quote, "I have not been able to get them to focus on the budget itself." Untrue. We finished reviewing the budget on April 12th. When I look at the minutes for the last 6 years, outside of 2020, the budget review was completed between March 28th and May 3rd. The other years, the budget was completed April 2nd, April 10th, and April 13th. We were right on track with finishing our budget review. For Article 5, the town manager said she didn't quite understand why we hadn't made a recommendation and said we wanted to see what the Board of Selectmen wanted to do. Again, untrue. We still had questions on some of the amounts, wanted to wait until our next meeting before making a recommendation. That is our right and our duty as an independent committee, Mr. Forcier. For Article 15, we did not make a recommendation because the article was incorrect. A line item was listed that shouldn't have been, and the total was incorrect. Again, the town manager's comment that we were waiting for the selectmen's recommendation was untrue. For Article 19, our motion to refer to November didn't appear to have been given to the selectmen. And again, the town manager said we were waiting for the selectmen's recommendation. Untrue again. I do find it interesting that the Finance Committee was told something totally different from what the selectmen were told on that article. For Articles 31 through 35, I asked if we could put these off to our next meeting because I wanted to hear Bruce Cody's explanations. Once again, the town manager said we were waiting for the selectmen, and once again, this was untrue. What was the purpose of the false narrative provided by the town manager, and why were Mr. Forcier and Mr. Dracut so eager to believe it without checking facts? Who is managing whom? The Finance Committee is doing their job by reviewing the budget and warrant articles. At what point will the selectmen focus on doing theirs? Thank you.
Okay, next we have Michelle Clement. Comments regarding last Selectmen's meeting. Hi.
Michelle Clement, 520 Nashua Road. I want to thank you all for allowing me to speak this evening. The select meeting on Tuesday the 11th began with Mr. Dracut having just come off a win through town election, thanking his community for their support. In addition, he asked for more young people to volunteer to join boards and committees. It was so refreshing and nice to hear. About an hour and 20 minutes into the meeting took a turn. I am a part of this finance committee. I'm a 34-year-old single mother who works full-time, and I'm on various other boards. I was taken back by the comments of the select board stating, "What do we need them for? Do your job." One of your fellow selectmen did take a stand on behalf of the finance committee and say, "I think we're being a bit harsh on volunteers." I found this very distasteful, discouraging, and highly unprofessional. This is one of the many reasons why people do not volunteer. I choose to be on this committee to hopefully help the town of Dracut and become involved in this great community. I would ask that before you speak on the committee in a public forum, that you ask what our input is and join one of our finance committees to see what really is going on. Thank you.
Hey, I'm getting pretty good at those videos.
You are.
Huh? It takes time, but I mean, Gordy's really good at it, but he's so busy at work.
Yep.
He's forcing me to learn.
That's good.
So I'm learning, but I want to thank the staff here for helping me learn Final Cut Pro, because it's really not an easy thing to get to know, and when you're not doing it every day, it's a problem. But Linda, you should be able to call back now, but you have to shut your TV off or shut it down, turn down the volume, or you get the 10-second delay and you're not listening to the phone, and then we get all of that business. But the staff over here figured out the problem instantaneous, because the DATV staff is better than any staff anywhere, including most of your major network stations. Is that good enough for you guys? Anyways, we're going to move on to the next subject, and they're saying thank you. Look at how good they are. They're sending us messages.
That's great.
This is great stuff, folks. Great stuff. So now we're going to go into the COVID report, and this is on behalf and in honor of Frank McMahon. Go ahead.
So if you guys can bring up my, we all know COVID is pretty much over now, so I wanted to give you a vaccination report. That's the talk of the time.
Can we do a face mask burning?
I think we should do that.
Can we do that? Can we do that?
All right, so we're going to go through really quickly through the stats here for how many people are vaccinated in Dracut, Massachusetts, the United States, and the world. All right, so here's the numbers for Dracut. So you can see here, what I did do is I took out of the population those under 12. So the total population of 12 and over in Dracut is 28,204. This is provided by the Massachusetts state of Massachusetts. So we have just under 19,000 people with one dose. We have just under 17,000 people with two doses. So that puts us fully vaccinated population in Dracut at 60%.
Wow, that's great, Dracut.
Partially vaccinated is 67%. So that's good.
That's great, Dracut. Yeah. I wonder if the school department is going to, not another hit on the school department, but a little whack, let's say. I wonder if the school department is going to take away the mask wearing.
Well, they're following the state.
Yeah, right.
And then you can see those 50 and over, we have fully vaccinated 50 to 64 is 71%, 65 to 74 is 86, and 75 plus is 84%. So large majority. We're in herd immunity now at 60%.
Awesome. That's awesome. Great job, Dracut. Great job.
And here's Massachusetts really quickly. They've given out 8.76 million doses. 4.002 million are fully vaccinated, which puts the state at 58.3, so we're just ahead of the state. We're
awesome.
2% ahead of the state. And then here's the United States. We have 312 million doses have been given. 146 million, I thought this was pretty interesting, fully vaccinated, which is 44.4% of the United States.
Wow,
is fully
that's
vaccinated.
still not enough to be herd immunity, but there's a lot of smaller
And then there's an additional 20 million that have one dose.
Okay, so we're almost there.
Right.
So we're almost there.
And then here's the world. So we have 2.26 billion doses have been given. 480 million. So if you look back at the United States, we're 146.
Wow.
So in the world, there's 480 million, which is only 6% of the population.
Wow.
And then one last thing I wanted, if people that haven't seen this yet, Massachusetts is doing this thing called Vax Millions. So they're giving away 5 $1 million prizes and 5 $300,000 college scholarships to those from 12 to 17. And all you had to do is get vaccinated. So if you're vaccinated, it's going to open up. They didn't really say yet, but it's July 1st. They're going to put instructions. So I think all you have to do is there's a code on your vaccination card. You put that in, or you give them permissions to look up your vaccine record, and then you're entered in the drawing. So what I would recommend is they're doing one drawing a week. I think it's every week, starting July 26th. So you want to enter early, because if you don't enter early, you miss the 5 drawings. So if you can enter at any time before August 26th, but if you enter at August 26th, you're only entered in one drawing. So
so
it's better to do it right away if you're going to do it. And that's it. So there's going to be 5 people out there that are going to win $1 million.
Frank, get out there and get vaccinated.
And really important, if you're 12 to 17, there's not many people that have been vaccinated. Right. So if you're one of those people, you got a really good chance to get a $300,000 scholarship.
Great. Okay, we're going to switch quick gears to Phil Thibault, who's going to give us an update or a quick review on the town meeting.
It
shouldn't be
it shouldn't take too long, as I alluded to. Well, everybody knows my rule of thumb. A town meeting in Dracut takes 2.5 hours. Well, they beat the record here. With an hour and a half to go over some 35 articles or so. And I believe the first 20 articles were done in less than 20 minutes. So
wow.
The town spent $85 million in less than a minute.
That's what they
for the budget. And, so the most controversial item that seemed to take, I think, maybe 40 minutes of the whole meeting was Article 29, which is home occupation by right. So somebody who was working out of their house. They want it provided by right. And of course, you have it by right with stipulations.
Right.
So
who are the proponents of that?
So this was submitted by Jesse Forcier and Allison Janest. Allison had got up to speak in regards to it, saying that they were proposing this article to help people affected by COVID who, either are out of work or working from their home and that are looking to continue to work out of their house, but now insurance requirements are such that businesses need to get posted or registered in the town.
And register for taxes.
Probably.
You know that's part of it.
And mortgages and stuff like that. But if they're not registered properly because of zoning, which this falls into, they can't get registered, so they start losing off on a whole bunch of stuff. So they made this article, and for most part there wasn't much controversy except for item number 6 on the list, and I'll read it. It says, home occupation may be allowed as of right provided that it, and number 6 was, does not produce any customers, pupils, or client trips to the occupation site. So they want nobody coming to your home. And has no non-resident employees. So any employees there need to reside in the house.
Well, I hate to cut you off, Phil, but we're down to no time.
Good Lord.
Yeah, we went right down to no time. I wanted to thank one more time Heidi for coming in tonight and pouring her heart out to us and to the Dracut people, and we welcome her anytime. Folks, thanks for joining us tonight. Gordy, take it away.
And for those of you that pray out there, say a prayer for the Midwest, because they're really having a bad drought. My brother called me last night and said that it's really bad out there, so the corn crop is not doing well this year. So look for higher corn prices for those people that like corn. But when it's Wednesday night and it's 6:30, it's What's Happening Dracut. Good night, Dracut.
Good night, everybody.